Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, and we got a couple things to catch up on with The Sims 4 today. So, the first thing is regarding the latest update because, well, while it did bring some interesting quality of life changes, it also came with some nasty bugs, which is pretty much routine now when it comes to expansion pack launches and the patches that released just before them. The Sims Direct released this statement saying, "We are actively investigating issues related to sim pregnancy, including missing pregnancy tests, baby bumps, and interactions. We are tracking them here on the EA forums. Any information or saves can aid our investigation, so please provide via the forums. As the team works towards resolutions for pregnant sims, we've identified solutions to drag and drop for cleaning and the disappearing hobby board. These two issues, alongside a few others, will be resolved on July 10th with the release of Enchanted by Nature." So we'll get another patch on release day of Enchanted by Nature, but it's not going to fix the pregnancy issues. Hopefully that will be another hotfix not far off. I don't think this will be like the weather indoors bug that was just fixed after being broken for almost 6 months. This is a base game thing that revolves around a pretty major part of the core game, so I doubt it will take that long to fix this bug. But another thing I want to talk about is they finally uploaded the world spotlight for Enchanted by Nature, so we get to see various noteworthy sites of Innisgreen. I like that they credit the creators of each lot in this world as they fly by them. There's a couple more interactive buildings than I thought there would be, like clover seeds and supplies. This Devlin's Books, I assumed that was going to be a decorative building as well. So I'm curious to see if there's anything else, because I have looked a little bit at world overviews from creators who have the early access, but I haven't spoiled everything. But I am surprised they didn't show the world map in this video, because while you can watch those videos to see what the world map looks like, we haven't seen it in any official trailers. But like I said in my previous video, there are 14 lots, so that is not bad compared to some other worlds that we've had before. I still wish we could get on average twice as many lots as we get now, but that's definitely not going to happen, especially with the save corruption that seems to be a lot easier to run into the more lots you add to the game. At least I can still work with 14. That's a lot better than say 10 or 11 with 1 or 2 of those lots taken up by a special venue type that I wouldn't want to replace with something else. Now here's a small detail you probably won't hear from anyone else. There are 2 types of seagulls living in Innisgreen. There's what looks to be the black-headed gulls flying around in the foreground, and they actually can appear in Ireland, which this world is inspired from. And then there's just like the regular gulls that we've had since Cats and Dogs that are so blocky and low detailed. I'm not entirely sure if they're inspired by any particular gull. They're probably just the common gull, but yeah, there's just really not much to look at with them. Also, isn't it kind of funny that they're reusing the diving buoys from Island Living? Like, obviously we're not getting underwater diving in this pack, but it's just weird that they would do that. They could have just used the regular buoys that are also scattered about. Decent number of lots aside, I don't have a very strong opinion of this world. Definitely recycling the Ravenwood formula with Life and Death, where it's just like, okay, supernatural neighborhood, realistic one, and one that's in between. And like I said back with Life and Death, I wish we could have an expansion pack size world that's all supernatural themed for all 3 neighborhoods. How cool would that be? I think there's just so much potential lying in a world like that. Like, look how interesting Everdew is with that house in the tree and this lounge with the ethereal looking interior. It would be an interesting shakeup to the normal formula where it's like, okay, we get a suburban world or a city one, or something that's more in the countryside, but to have something that is full on fantasy and not necessarily revolving around like fairy themed, but even sci-fi, like if we did get something more that's out in space, I mean, Ideally, I'd love to have a refresh of Aliens where we actually get to see way more of Sixum than just the outskirts and get to work, but that probably won't happen. But still, like, if we're gonna have so many more years of The Sims 4, I think they could maybe still do some sort of fantasy world. I'm just not sure what they would have to go with it, because they've covered pretty much all of the major occults from the previous games that Simmers have been asking for. Funny enough, there was an article published today on Sims Community talking about the occults that haven't returned from previous games yet, including Bigfoot, mummies, imaginary friends from Sims 3 Generations, genies, and zombies. But I don't feel like any of them would bring that much to the table. They'd feel like pretty minor occults, except maybe imaginary friends. I really was creeped out by their designs in The Sims 3, but I think if they were reimagined to be more like Calvin and Hobbes inspired stuffed animals that could come to life and work like imaginary friends, then I think that could be really fun. It's just that, where do you put those? Because we have so many family packs already. Growing Together is probably the one that would have made the most sense for them, but that didn't happen. So it's just like, again, like, how would you even do those things? They've covered so many different themes already. How would you even bring imaginary friends back then? Oh, come to think of it, that article did not mention unicorns. No, the accessory in Horse Ranch does not count. That does not give horses unicorn powers. Enchanted by Nature actually would have been a really good way to bring them back. I think they could match up pretty well with fairies, and then you would just have it so if you didn't have Horse Ranch, you would only have unicorns and not regular horses. I would love to see a fully developed occult on the level of werewolves, fairies, and vampires. That's something that we've never seen in The Sims before. I'm just not entirely sure what that would be. I'm surprised they haven't done a superhero pack before, but if they were to do superheroes, I think most of their abilities would be quite similar to what we've seen in those other occults already. One last thing I wanted to talk about is my Twitch channel. It's always linked in the video description below by default, but I don't stream over there too often. But today and tomorrow, I want to do live streams because shortly after this video is up, I'll stream some early access for Enchanted by Nature now that I have the pack. We'll go through, create a sim, and then I want to do like a bit of practice for a new Let's Play. Yup, that's right. It's been years. I know most of you could not care less about me actually playing the game, so that's why I pretty much stopped doing Let's Plays. But there's a sim I made years ago that I really want to pay off the storyline regardless of how much viewership I get, because it would feel like a big missed opportunity if I just never did it. So yeah, that should be interesting. Then tomorrow I'll stream part 2 of the Storybook Vale DLC for Disney Dreamlight Valley. They released patch notes for it, but it just didn't really feel worth it making a whole dedicated video about that because there isn't really that much happening besides the DLC itself, just some bug fixes. I think the only thing we didn't really know in terms of the new content is that Aurora is getting a dream style to unlock. She will be coming with the pink dress, so I'm assuming then the dream style will be the blue dress, but we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to playing through that, because that is a really fun DLC. And that wraps up another Sims Info and Thoughts video, so feel free to let me know your thoughts on Enchanted by Nature in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!